job, right? So you have that, and then it says we are committed over the long haul, right? And at the same time, what he's trying to basically say is that your mentality is you're gonna have a job forever, right? Maybe you might not be that job forever, but you might go to another job, but you always gonna have that worker's mentality, right? So he says, I would say implement that to your craft in the sense that it might not be as successful as we think in the beginning. It might suck. I mean, it might not be as glamorous as some individuals have had the success and luck. But it doesn't mean that you stop. Doesn't mean that you don't put in the work no more because going on, everybody? We're back, and continuation to my last episode. My videos are getting kind of longer, and I'm sorry about that, guys, but I am so inspired to share some information for you guys from the new book that I'm reading, The War of Art, right? And that being said, continuation to my last episode, where I was talking about how he states in the book itself, the only way to become a warrior, well, to learn about being a warrior, is to become the warrior. That's the best way. So if you wanna start your own channel, start your own website, start your own blog, start your own podcast, the only way to learn about it is to do it. Start it. So I've heard it countless amount of times where people say just start, and it's so true. I would have done this channel or anything had I not started. And it's just starting to learn how to put yourself out there, and learn how to second guess it. Go against your second guessing and overthinking and doing things just to do it. And you'll learn if you like it, and you might not like it, and you might just let it go. And then you learn if you're passionate about making it better and actually making yourself better. And that's something you must keep on doing. Then you're going to go ahead every day. I don't think you're going to need any motivation. You're going to be inspired every day to do something about it. But that being said, we're talking about right now, we're correct when he says, how everyday lives right now, everybody that's an employee, all of us that have a job, or any of you have a career, you are already experienced professionals, in the sense that he states that the strategies and the habits that you already have are the same habits that are needed to become a professional in whatever area you want to become. Whatever it may be, whatever endeavor you may want to start, whether it be losing weight, whether it be a blog, a vlog, and I know for me, so I want to just find the part real quick. Where did I put it at? I know for me, the hardest part is, being, I would say, diligent and consistent and persistent. That's the hardest part, because we kind of overestimate, I would say, the success of things in the beginning, and we underestimate, as I always say in my last videos, underestimate the success of things in the long run, the long haul, right? So, well, he states that we're already professionals, and again, this is from the book itself. So this is by Steven Pressfield. You guys want to look at the book, the War of Art. It might be backwards there, but The War of Art. And for all creators out there, listen to this real quick, right? So, as employees, right? He says, 1, we show up every day, right? No matter what, right? 2, we show up. Well, first of all, 1 is we show up every day. 2, we show up no matter what, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and give a quick example. When I used to work at my last job, I had a coworker of mine that he would be sick, right? We would have sick days. Well, we have days where we were sick, we can call out, and we would get paid a sick day. We had a certain amount of days we can call out throughout the year where we can be paid for those days. Obviously, if you were sick, right? So it wasn't like if you called out, you were not going to get paid, or with certain jobs, you might not get paid. But this job, you got paid if you called out sick. Even then, the individual still came to work, right? So talking about dedication, old school, right? He's a baby boomer, as they call him. He is dedicated to that craft no matter what. He was there no matter what. and he will come in sick. I'm talking about fever, coughing, which is not good for us because now the coworkers might have gotten sick. But yeah, he came in no matter what, so it's always bad for me. That's basically what it is. You show up no matter what, right? And number three, you stay at work all day, right? You have to be at work. There's no other choice, right? You may wander and stuff like that. You might go on social media. You might go on the web surfing, but you're there all day. You're there for whatever 8-9 hours, whatever hours is that you're working, and you do not go home until your time is up. And I think for that perspective, I think he's kind of relating that to like if you starting any endeavor, any type of creative project, any type of brand, anybody that's starting a brand or something like that, you want to understand that you wake up with that purpose and you stay with it for whatever amount of hours. For example, you say you want to go 2 hours a day. When I was working, I would do after I would get home from work. My goal was basically I would close the office door and I would be here from 6 to 8:30. No matter what, making the videos, editing the videos. So one day I would make the videos, the next day I would edit them. Every single night I was doing something to start my channel, to make the craft better, to make the channels better. And that was from 6 to 8:30 every night. And my kids would be banging on the door. I would have to make dinner. I would probably skip dinner. But I held myself accountable and said I had to start doing something because I felt like I was not on purpose at my job, and in order for me to do that, I would have to start working outside of my hours, in order for me to start it before I left my job, right? So you have that, and then it says we are committed over the long haul, right? And at the same time, what he started basically saying is that your mentality is you're gonna have a job forever, right? Maybe you might not be that job forever, but you might go to another job, but you always gonna have that worker's mentality, right? So it says, I would say implement that to your craft in the sense that it might not be as successful as we think in the beginning. It might suck. I mean, it might not be as glamorous as some individuals have had the success and luck, but doesn't mean that you stop. Doesn't mean that you don't put in the work no more because, and it's a great note to myself, because if you know that this is what you like to do, you're in it for the long haul. Whether it blows up or it doesn't, you're in it for the long game. Until I would feel like you have that moment where you feel like you don't want to do that thing anymore. And a lot of individuals might be in a career for 20 years, and they just wake up one day they don't have the ambition for it no more, and they just stop doing it. Right? They just say, you know what, I won't do this no more. Some individuals are like, some people are like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. He walked away from a 6-figure job or from a 7-figure job, right? And it's just that once an individual got tired of that, doesn't want to do it anymore, they can give him all the amount of him or her all the amount of money in the world, but he or she is not in it anymore. And that goes for anything in life. When you're not in it anymore, no matter what happens, what they do, or how they treat you, or whatever it may be, relationships or job wise, you are not in it. You move on, right? So, and another one, the next point is, at the end of the day, the stakes are high in a job, right? Because this is about survival. You got to feed your family, so you got to go to work because at the end of the day, you're feeding them. You're putting food on the table with this, I would say, paycheck. So, in creating a craft, your stakes are real high as well, because sometimes we look at it, oh, I don't have to worry about it because I don't depend on it, but you might want to start thinking that way because then it makes you be more creative in the sense that how can you make it more, I would say, feasible or more, I would say, just more, whatever it is you're trying to create, how can you make it so that it can stand out? And if you really are nonchalant about it, like, hey, I'll just use whatever, I don't care. Sometimes people do create crazy stuff, but at the same time, the most people that have the most attention to detail and certain things are the ones that are the most successful. I watch my daughters; they watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch their channels that they watch, and individuals on these channels have 20 million subscribers and plus. And sometimes people laugh, oh, why people subscribe to that thing? Because they have great content, and at the end of the day, that's what these kids are loving, and these kids are subscribing. There would be no reason a kid would subscribe to the channel if they didn't have what they wanted to watch. So there's always a reason why they have the success, right? And last but not least, well, second to last, they're talking about you accept remuneration for your labor. And I think it goes a lot for, I would say lately I've been seeing a lot of photographers talking about how individuals call them up and they say, hey, show up, and I won't, I'm not gonna, I even thought about that as well sometimes. Have some creatives show up and listen, just show up, show me your work, and do it for free. And we kind of feel that this is the best way. And yes, it's great and all, but even Gary Vee says, oh, work for free. Sometimes I think it's needed, but sometimes you have to understand your worth, and that at the end of the day, nobody will go to work for free at all in most cases. So why would we showcase your talents or your, I would say, your time for free? So it depends on the situation, but most of the time, he states that whatever you're doing, you don't, no matter what, you love it, but you're not doing it for free. Most of the time, you're gonna want some type of compensation for it in any type of form. It doesn't have to be monetary, but it could be in other ways. Maybe it could be, I'm not sure, maybe rent, whatever it may be. And then I would say another one he talks about is that you never over-identify with your job. Like, I was in banking, I was a janitor, I was a server. I did so many jobs, but I never identify myself with that, right? You never really, at least for me, you do your job and you go home, and the next day is another thing. You don't really walk around saying, hey, I wish I could be a better, or whatever job it is. You know that you're doing the job and you're doing the task, and then you go home. And you know that that's not, your job is not who you are. It's just a job. And it's the same thing that goes for your craft. They say whatever craft you want to try, he describes it in the sense that the amateur, he over-identifies with his avocation. Meaning, if you're a music producer, if you a artist, draws, you over-identify with the profession, and you feel that, what I think that gets you in trouble in the sense that, for example, let's say, we can look at a lot of examples of great athletes nowadays, right? For example, the wrestler, I always bring him up, Dwayne Johnson, right? If he would have stayed with the mentality that he was only a wrestler, and he was only obviously an athlete, a big body, muscular guy, and all he could do was wrestle, he wouldn't have gone into the acting part, right? And the fact that he didn't over-identify with the wrestling gave him the opportunity to become an actor. And even though obviously his acting got better along the way, the reason why he didn't over-identify with that craft was the reason why he's where he's at now. So sometimes we over-identify with our craft, not knowing what can come next. Maybe some growth and development. Maybe we can merge two areas with our crafts. Maybe we're good at certain areas as well, and learning that and also applying that to your craft. So think about that, guys, right? I know it's going to go a little bit long in this video, but I wanted to share with you guys. The other one is we master our technique. Whatever job you're doing, you master the technique every day. Whatever you're doing, everybody, when I go to a certain place or retail, the individuals that work there have a technique already. They have their routine on a daily basis. Whatever job it is, they have a routine every day. They know how to do it. They mastered it. When I was in janitor, I knew my technique for cleaning and what steps and what to do first and what to leave for last, and to do the job efficient and professional. So there was a certain technique to it, and I had to learn it. And once I learned it, obviously the job became mundane and it became very boring, but there was a technique to it. So the same thing goes for us building our crafts. Learn the techniques, learn the craft, and apply it to your creativity, apply it to your work. So the technique is always something that was very mundane, but I think we can learn that very easily. And once you learn that, then you're going to go ahead and put your own 2 cents in it, right? And the last two is, he says, we have a sense of humor for our jobs, and we receive praise or blame in the real world. So that being said, I want another show's going kind of long, but think about it. We have our jobs. I would say I was a janitor. I would say, hey, I'm a janitor. I clean shit, sorry, for all day, every day. And when I was at work at nights, and I would be humorous about it. I really didn't care what anybody thought about it. I knew how to get a paycheck, right? And that was my humor about it, right? So the same thing can go for your craft. If you are doing something that nobody really knows about, nobody really understands, who cares? Make fun of yourself. At the end of the day, something you want to do, nobody's gonna understand you, and be okay with that. But don't take yourself too seriously, right? And I live by that every single day. If I'm scared of something and I know I'm horrible at it, I do it anyway. I make fun of myself and I know I suck. It doesn't matter. Making these videos, maybe a lot of people might not like it. I want to do it. Here it is. And the last, he was talking about receiving blame or praise. So I know for anybody that's creating out there, I know for me making videos, I'm always kind of, I would say, conscious about how it's going to be received, right? Whether you, the viewer, might like it or might not like it, or might think of it as lame, or actually, I've received some comments where individuals say, "Oh, this is great. Thank you so much for your videos," and it feels good. It feels so good. I'm not gonna lie and say, "Oh, I don't really care." It does feel good when you get that praise, but it sucks when people criticize your stuff and don't watch it or don't like it or even don't share it, don't support it. It does suck. So I think he states, in real life and in your job, when you get criticized, what do? You just, okay, this is your job. You move forward. You keep on doing your things. You apologize. Maybe you made a mistake, but you show up the next day. If you get praise, same thing. You get an award. You get a little raise, a little bonus. You feel great, but what do? You show up the next day. So the same thing goes for working on your craft. Praise or not, bad comments or not, if you must do what you must do and you feel like you need to do it, show up every day, shake it off, show up the next day. So take that mentality into whatever it is that you're doing. Again, this channel is all about the mindset, the mentality. How can we improve it? And I think this book is such a great book. Pick it up when you guys get a chance. If not, let me know what you guys are. I'll mail it to you. I'll give it to you for free. I'll see you guys next time. True significance in this world. And we're all in the same thing. We all want to be able to know what we're here to do. And I think it's one day at a time. So